too. Now, the Apocrypha may not be totally 100% inspired, but it does have some nice historical information in it. It says here, Jeremiah found a cave dwelling. He carried the tent, the ark, the incense altar into it, then blocked up the entrance. Some of his companions came to mark out the way, but were unable to find it. When Jeremiah learned of this, he reprimanded them. The place shall remain unknown, he said, until God finally gathers his people together and shows mercy to them. Then the Lord will bring these things to light again. So Jeremiah's men were marking the way when they were taking the Ark of the Covenant. And not far from here is a tunnel that leads all the way up to its current location. But
so they were told, you stop carving.
Yes.
They just about gave away the surprise.
Right.
Okay.
So just about 50, 60 feet from here is this large man-made wall that was thrown up hastily. Behind this wall is a tunnel that leads up 370 feet to where the Ark of the Covenant is today.
Wow. So if one were allowed by proper authorities to take down this wall, a straight tunnel right to the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes.
Wow.
So here we are standing next to the wall. Again, it's probably 40 to 50 feet across, closing up a tunnel through there. And in our video here, so we're panning across the wall. This is pitch black, but we did bring in a few lights. And you can see that this is a man-made straight wall going across.
It does look like it was made in a hurry.
Yes, and in Ron's later years, he would come to this wall and he would stand there, and if God wanted him to proceed, a man or an angel would come up to him and say, remove these stones and you can proceed. So, but in the early years, he didn't have that luxury. He had to do the years and years of digging to get to the Ark cave and so forth. So where the Ark is, it's in a garden in John 19. Now in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden. In the garden, a new tomb in which no one had yet been laid. So the area where the crucifixion site is, there should be a garden and a new tomb. And that's what we have at the Garden Tomb grounds today.
You know, I've read that verse 1,000 times, and you don't correlate that these things, according to that verse, if you take it literally,
yes,
should be right next door.
They should be together, yeah. And so there in the Garden Tomb grounds, you have evidence that this was a garden area. Here's an ancient wine press, very large, one of the largest in Jerusalem. And there's the tomb itself. And in Matthew 27, make it secure as you know how. So they went and made the tomb secure, sealing the stone and setting the guard. So just to the left of the entrance to the tomb, I had my hand next to this iron rod. Why is the iron rod there? They were sealing the rolling stone so it could not roll back to the left here. Here's a close-up of it, where the iron rod was broken off by the angel. When the angel came down, he broke off that iron rod that was sealing the stone, keeping it from rolling back, and allowing the stone to be rolled back to the left. And of course, Jesus came out triumphant.
And as I understand, there's proof of that because the Romans had an iron pin sealed in molten lead.
Yes.
That's the way they sealed things. That's what's found in the Colosseum.
Yes.
And so this was that same construction method.
That's right. That's what they found there. So, and also John 19, he bearing his cross went out to a place called Place of the Skull, which is called in Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him. And so if you go to the far end of the Garden Tomb grounds, you can look out over the overlook there, and you see a short distance away, maybe 40 yards, is this Place of the Skull. So you can see the two eye sockets here, the nose. And so, again, this is showing us that we're in the correct location. Now this is the cutouts. I'm standing here next to the cutouts. This is near current ground level today. Ground level is a little bit higher than this, about 3 feet. But those are the cutouts, and the Ark of the Covenant would be approximately below where I'm standing there.
Wow.
This is the way it looks today. As far as there's a deck that's been built there.
A nice place to have lunch right on top of the Ark of the Covenant.
Right. So, yeah, that table is close to where the Ark of the Covenant is, underground, about 45 feet under this.
So right around this is where that center cross hole was found
the
as well.
cross hole will be underground below this, yes.
Okay.
In the bedrock. So, once again, here's another angle showing the cutouts to our left here where the signs were placed, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. And then there's a walkway headed over to the right toward Golgotha, the place of the skull. And we're told in Matthew 27, the rocks were rent. So there was a major earthquake that split the rock and would have allowed the blood to go down into the cave. And in this rock escarpment, you can see large cracks in it where an earthquake took place at some point.
Yeah, something definitely happened there, isn't it?
Yes. And there's an image again of the cross hole that's down below and in front of where those cutouts were that we saw earlier. This would be the cross hole.
So that's below that modern deck.
Yes,
it's
below the deck.
there.
Yeah, it'll be about maybe approximately 25 feet below that.
Is that still exposed, or how would someone?
It's all covered up.
It's all covered up
the
now?
cross hole, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's below 20 to 25 feet of earth at this point. But this was the cross hole plug. When the cross hole was not being used, the stone was placed in the hole so it would not fill up with debris, so people wouldn't fall in it or whatever.
That's a large hole.
Yes. So it's approximately 12 inches by 13 inches.
Wow.
Yes. And so here it is again. This is probably the bottom side of it where it was turned over. And to the right, we see deck timber from Noah's Ark while we're on the slide. But so
that's coming next episode.
yes, those are two interesting items there. So there's a cross hole plug. And also in the cave were found 7 oil lamps in the Ark of the Covenant cave. 6 were turned over to the Israel Antiquities Authority, and Ron kept one of them. It's interesting. This lamp here shows a ram in a thicket.
Ah, yes, it does.
Now,
I saw that picture earlier, and I wondered what that goat was doing.
We recall a story relating to Abraham where there was a ram in a thicket in Isaac. This is the same hill, Mount Moriah, where Abraham was to sacrifice Isaac. But God said, no, I will provide a sacrifice. He provided the ram that day, but then 2,000 years later, he provided his own son for us. So same location where Abraham was to sacrifice Isaac, God had to sacrifice his own son. I've heard some people say, that's terrible, God wanted Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. That is so terrible. But God had to do it to his own son. Very heartbreaking.
And this is that's an incredible, only by the power of Jehovah, by God, would this be possible that an oil lamp is a marker of that site.
Right.
That's unreal.
So, and we're told in 1 Samuel now, David went to the priest to borrow it. And it's the sword we're talking about here.
Okay.
And the priest said, the sword of Goliath, the Philistine, whom thou slewest in the valley of Elah, it is here wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If thou wilt take that, take it, for there is no other save it here. And David said, there is none like that. Give it to me. And so here we have this is the shape of Goliath's sword. Once again, we saw the length of it is very long. It's 62 inches in length. It's still in the cave there with the Ark of the Covenant. Now it's got this hand guard with these curved ends. What these are designed to do is if a sword comes down here, it can get caught in here, okay? It gets caught inside of there, and that allows Goliath he can just kick the person down. They're so small. I mean, this allows him to move through people. And then another interesting thing is you notice these points here on either side. So there's 2 side points, and then you have the major point. So these side points were designed to rip and tear as he's slicing across somebody, this will rip and tear their mail, the chain mail that they're carrying, or whatever type of armor. This is designed to slash and tear through somebody. So this is a real weapon.
Very
here.
innovative.
Yes, and it would have been very heavy, of course. No problem for him to carry, but so it's mentioned as being in there with the priests in the tabernacle, and that's where it was found by Ron Wyatt there in the cave with the Ark of the Covenant.
Now, I guess all the proof anyone will need is when that area is finally opened to the public, and everything is seen there many years after Ron has passed, and it's exactly as he said it was.
Yes.
He'll finally be...
Yes, we'll see this at some point.
Yeah.
So now we've got a video.
The fourth trip I made into this chamber, it was spotless. The furnishings were set in perfect order. The Ark of the Covenant, however, had been placed against the wall, the end of the cave. The end of the cave was a beautiful crystal radiating the colors of the rainbow. Now, I know New Age and all that goes in for rainbows, so do homosexuals and all of that. But God used it first, all right? It's around his throne, and it's around his earthly throne. Now, there's no veil in this setup, so it is the earthly, it's God's temple on earth, or his residence where he once dwelt. And anyway, when I found it like this, there were 4 young men standing in there. And I started to say, you know, what are you doing here? And I froze. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything. One of the people said, we are the 4 angels that have been taking care of the ark since Moses put the tables of stone in it, right? And they instructed me to set up my video camera with the tripod, aim it at the Ark of the Covenant, and they went over, lifted the mercy seat up. I don't know how heavy it is. I've never tried to lift it, but it's solid gold. And the angel said, take the tables of stone out of there. God wants everyone to see those. I took them out, all right? They put the mercy seat back down over the Ark of the Covenant. I backed away a little bit. The angel came, got the tables of stone, put them on a rock ledge inside the chamber, and I was then instructed to take a sample of the blood from the mercy seat, have that analyzed, and I did everything the angel told me to do. Real quickly, okay, dried blood is dead blood. Everybody knows that, all right? They can test the blood of the pharaohs, the mummies of the pharaohs, all right? There's certain things they can do. They cannot get a chromosome count by any method I'm familiar with, all right? Things keep changing. I don't profess to know everything. However, there's no way I know that you can get a chromosome count out of dead blood. You can get a DNA and some other things, but not a chromosome count, all right? That's done by living white blood cells. Now then, first of all, in this analysis, I took the blood into a laboratory in Israel. I asked one of the people I work with in antiquities, where is a good laboratory that does reliable work? And they said, such and such, such and such. I took it. I just said, please examine this blood and tell me what you can tell me about it. All right? They said, well, look, we're going to reconstitute it. We're going to put it in normal saline and keep it at body temperature for 72 hours with gentle swirling. All right, that's their business. That's great. I said, now I want to be there when you check it out. They said, fine. So I was back. They checked it out. I said, now, they said it's human blood. We can tell that. They did whatever tests they need to do. And then I said, take some of the white blood cells and put them in a growth medium and keep them at body temperature for 48 hours. And they said, well, that'll do no good because it's dead blood. I said, would you please do that for me? And they said, okay, we'll do it. So anyway, I said, I want to be there when you take it out and examine it. So I was back there. They took it out, examined it under a microscope, and the one technician called the other one over there, and then they called the boss over there, and they were talking Hebrew a mile a minute there for a little bit, and they looked at me and they said, Mr. Wyatt, this human blood only has 24 chromosomes in it. Everybody else has 46. You see, 23 from your mother, 23 from your father, 22 autosomes from your mother, 22 autosomes from your father. You get an X from your mother, you may get an X or a Y from your father, all right? This blood had 23 chromosomes from the mother's side, one Y chromosome only. You see, the child could not have developed if they hadn't had the autosomes from the mother. So all of his physical characteristics were determined by his mother's side of the family, her autosomes. His maleness was determined by this one Y that came from a source, not a human male. Then they said, this blood is alive. And then they said, whose blood is this? I said, it's the blood of your Messiah. And I assure you, those men's lives have changed.
That is amazing. You know, I've heard this from Jim and Penny Caldwell as well. They've picked up on this as well, this research of how the blood is not human. That it's human, but it's not like every other human.
It's unique, yeah.
Right, it's unique.
Yes. So